One of the primary ways scientists communicate with each other is through academic journals. If you scan through enough academic journals, you'll find some fascinating articles. For example, you might find this study, which tested the impact of wearing pants made of various fabrics, polyester, cotton, or wool, on the sexual behavior of rats. Perhaps not surprisingly, polyester pants reduced the rats' sexual activity. However, the authors did not describe how they convinced the rats to wear pants. You might also find a fascinating study on the frictional coefficient between a banana peel and the floor, and between a shoe and a banana peel. They found that banana peels are slippery. And you might also find a study that found that the longer a cow is lying down, the more likely it becomes that the cow will stand up again. However, the probability of a standing cow lying down did not increase with standing time. So, there you go. When it comes to writing assessment reports, our temptation is to use the same approach that we use for journal articles. Fairly long, in-depth, multi-page, text-dense reports. And this may work well for some audiences, for some very specific audiences, but in general, most of our stakeholders will not be interested in reading a report of this sort. Instead of assuming everyone will want to read the standard, traditional assessment report, it helps to have a plan for reporting your results to ensure your investment in assessment pays off. First, identify your audiences. With whom do you want to share your results? This might include faculty in the program, accreditors, institutional administrators, and your institution's assessment committee, but it also might include students, parents, and the general public. Next, think through what key message you want to communicate to each audience. This will help you figure out how to best reach that audience. For example, faculty in your program, the key message might be, here's what we're doing well, here's what we could be doing better. For students, the message might be, we're committed to improving student learning and the student experience. Then, make some choices about how to share those messages. And remember that the medium should fit the audience and the message. This can include traditional reports, meeting presentations, or lots of other methods like infographics, social media posts, and interactive websites. Finally, figure out when you will complete these reports and make them available. Having a timeline ensures that things won't fall through the cracks. Now that you've shared results with others, it's time to think through how you might use your assessment results. Using assessment results is the reason we do assessment. One way to think about the importance of using results is to consider this quote from Banta and Blach, where they suggest spending more resources on using results than on gathering results. So you've put forth effort to collect assessment evidence, it's time to put forth at least the same amount of effort, if not more, in using those results. There are many different ways to use assessment results. Here are a few of the most common. First, spend time discussing and reflecting on the results with your colleagues. What do these results tell you about student learning? Are students achieving the learning you intended? What do the results suggest about the program? Is the degree program effective? Are there gaps in learning? Is the program working as intended? What changes might be needed to address these results? Next, if your discussion leads you to make a decision to make an improvement, go for it. This can include obvious changes like modifying course content or how material is presented in courses. You could also work with the Office of Teaching and Learning to try some new teaching strategies. Or you might think about changing the structure or requirements in the program. Are the courses in the correct sequence? Are the correct courses offered? You might also work with institutional partners. Are some of your courses offered in other departments? Can you work with those departments to respond to the issues identified in your assessment work? Do you need to change the prerequisite requirements? Or maybe another department has some strategies that you could use. And of course, when you do implement an improvement, make sure you plan to assess it. Otherwise, it's just a change, not an improvement. Another way to use assessment results is to improve your assessment process. Can you improve the rigor of the evidence you're collecting? Or improve the efficiency of the data collection by using some technology tool? Or modify the assessment tool to better address what you want students to achieve? And you might also change the way the assignment instructions are written. As Elliot Eisner says, our nets define what we shall catch. If you're not catching what you want with assessment, try modifying the assignment instructions. That's a great first step. One final way to use assessment results is to ask a new assessment question. Assessment sometimes produces more questions than it answers. This is expected. You should use this as an opportunity to set yourself up for your next assessment project. I hope this video helped make sense of sharing and using assessment results. Because we're not in this to write reports just for themselves. We're in this to improve student learning. Besides, writing reports about reports and reporting on that report, that's the government's job. Happy assessing!